this audio for you first. This audio has just been released. It is starting to go viral on the internet about 40 minutes ago. I want you to listen to it. And Jason, if you will give us the translation, go ahead. This is in Farsi, and this was just heard in the Strait of Hormuz, and we now have verification it is coming from the IRGC. What are they saying here, Jason?
So the New York Post has, as you were just talking about, has verified that this is coming from maritime radio channels from the IRGC, and what it says is, quote, "Since Israel's withdrawal from Lebanon and the complete lifting of the naval blockade and the withdrawal of American terrorist forces from the Persian Gulf and the region are among the main conditions of the agreement between Iran and the United States, the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed until these two conditions are met. All ships are ordered not to approach the strait for their own safety and health. Any vessel that defies this order will be targeted," end quote.
Now, how is Trump going to respond to this? I have to tell you, if indeed it is what the New York Post is now saying, it is coming from the IRGC, he has no choice. He has absolutely no choice but to bomb the snot out of the IRGC. He has to. That is not what this agreement says. And before the ink is even on the paper, they're in violation. And by the way, this whole thing about Israel, Israel was responding. They didn't just go out and kill a bunch of people in Lebanon. They were responding to Hezbollah killing 4 of their soldiers. So the mainstream media is not going to tell you any of this. I don't know why, other than I think honestly they would rather have the Islamists win. Their hatred for Donald Trump. I mean, you want to talk about the ends justify the means. They will keep news from you. They will spin news.
Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Shemil Shabbat Hashem Takwadash. Double honors to the other apostles and other bishops, great millstone, even the elders that came before them. That told us is true. Shalom, salutations, all the brothers out pushing word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful like tabernacle of David. I'm the Eliyahu back with the World War III Daily Update. And this guy is making excuses. He's like, it's the left's fault. They'll do anything to get at Donald. No, Donald Trump destroyed the world order, whether it was by design or whether he's a goddamn buffoon. That's what just happened. Now, it's everybody's fault except for Donald Trump. It's the left's fault because they hate him so much. Come on. Iran already broke the deal. Disturbing new IRGC. It was the IRGC. It was IRGC. 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 They broke the no. No, Israel broke the deal. Was no deal. Okay, just get to fighting and quit playing, because this what is it? Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, which is zero. What are you talking about? Broke the deal. It's not a deal. It's not a treaty. Okay? It's an MOU. It's a delay for 60 days. Okay? Broke the deal. Come on. Oh, and they went and shot him up because they killed 4 of them. He say, she say, bullshit. Okay? Yeah, go over there and unload on them. You would have did it. You tried to. Okay, so this is all bullshit. What's coming out right now is finally coming out is that America lost the war. Period. And you can't go back over there and drop bombs, and you can't go over there and do what you don't have no bombs to drop. You got to go make some. While you're making yours, Iran will make even more and still be on top. So anyway, the war is lost. Now it's scrambling time. What you see this guy doing is infighting. Esau got his ass whooped. There's nothing they can do. They know it. Now what? Let's go get them niggers. Let's get the niggers right there. We got them. Let's go choke them to death. They got that ass whooped. We lost the war. America just lost the war. Period. Period. I'm not going to say that. Guess what they're saying over there? America lost the war. They're jumping up and shouting. We took down the big bully. Both of them. That's what happened. Okay. That's what happened. It's looking bad. And somebody has got to pay. It's going to be you, Jake. Second Ezra 13:29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth, and one shall undertake to fight against another. Here comes the fighting. Okay, even this guy turning in on the Americans. Oh, it's the left because they hate Donald. We lost the war because the left hates Donald Trump so much they'll do anything. You know how stupid that sounds? This man had lost his fucking mind. Second Ezra 9:3 of the Good News Translation. There will be earthquakes, national rebellions, international intrigues, unstable leaders, and confused rulers. This dude's a leader, Glenn Beck. He fucked around and told us that the Native Americans are the children of Israel. Lost his job shortly thereafter. Second is 13:31, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, and one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. So we're in those wars. This dude is fighting a civil war on his own damn show.
They will lie to you because it doesn't matter. Nothing matters
except Trump lost the war. But it's the left's fault.
Discrediting and destroying Donald Trump. That's how sick
this
has gotten. I mean,
we can't say that Donald Trump lost. Don't say that, it's the left. We're getting our ass kicked on the battle.
I understand you don't like him, but when you are propping up Hezbollah,
Donald Trump made Al Qaeda the president of Syria. What the fuck are you talking about? Propping up Hezbollah. You put Al Qaeda as the president of Syria. What'd you say about Hezbollah?
Just because you can't have Donald Trump win, I mean, you've lost your mind. You really should be committed into an asylum.
You hear that? You want Hezbollah to win because you hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump put Al Qaeda in the presidency of Syria. Yeah, I put him in there and he's doing a great job. That's Al Qaeda. Would you just say hypocrite? You sound stupid.
You have crossed the line. Your insanity has gotten dangerous.
You hear this? Unstable.
And by the way, I'm not saying that we should put these people in mental institutions. I think they should recognize. And people, we need to start being very clear. This is a mental illness. And I don't want mental institutions. I don't want camps. I don't want all of the things the left is saying that they will do to people like me.
You hear this? What about the war? You talk about the left and what the left is going to do you if they get into power. If they get into power, listen to these fools. They're fighting demons on every side. Listen to what he's going to say right now.
If they got in charge,
If they got in charge, what would the left do to me if they got to see? They're so scared of each other. Let's go back to this. What are they doing? One people. What people? The left against the right. Same people. One people against another. That's the same people, left against the right. Oh. Confusion. Unstable leaders and confused rulers. We're seeing it firsthand. Look at this guy.
I think they should recognize. And people, we need to start being We need to start being very clear. This is a mental illness. And I don't want mental institutions. I don't want camps. I don't want all of the things the left is saying that they will do to people like me if they got in charge. I don't want any of that.
How can you?
But we have to.
How can you fight Iran when you're fighting yourself? Donald Trump is fighting Ishikar. He's fighting Latinos. He's fighting Negroes. Okay.
Lying to ourselves and saying this is just politics. It's not politics. This is serious mental illness, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. So, what does the president do, Jason? What do you think? How is he going to respond?
It's a good question. He's done everything in his power as of the past few months to.
So what you're saying is peace and safety. Let's get it first. What is it? First Thessalonians 5:3. Let's see. I got it so much. And the last, I don't know. I put these, didn't I? First these. Oh. First Thessalonians. Come on. These. I didn't do that. First Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So this is peace and safety. Now they're going to discuss peace and safety. What does it say? Iran already broke the peace deal. Peace and safety. Well, they came with that sudden destruction, didn't they? Or that's what you're saying. Why? Because you want to keep this war going. Oh, America's fighting with Israel. No, they're not.
No, quiet hostilities and get them to the negotiating table. I really don't know how you do that when it is very clear that Iran is trying to get additional concessions in this deal. And what's amazing on this is, you should today, with this example, you should be getting multiple exposés from the mainstream media talking about just who Hezbollah is. Why are these attacks happening? Because they usually just frame it as, oh, well, Israel's attacking Lebanon. Well, they're attacking Hezbollah. Hezbollah chiefs, Hezbollah operatives, Hezbollah troops. But who is Hezbollah?
What does that have to do with Iran? What does that have to do with Iran?
Iran is outing themselves on what they really want to do and what they'll continue to do. Exactly. Hezbollah is Iran. Iran is calling the shots and pulling the trigger here. That's what everyone should be talking about. They're doing this to themselves. And
part of the deal is Lebanon. So what are you talking about? Oh, and Hezbollah, well, keep fighting then. No deal. No deal. Who does that hurt? Does it hurt Trump or does it hurt those that are winning the war?
Themselves at the same time.
So your bullshit rhetoric going back and forth between you is doing nothing to Iran. All you're doing is getting yourself worked up so you could go after Jake. That's all you do.
What I would do if I was president, but I mean, I'm not a diplomat, so.
I'd nuke him.
Well, I don't have the information that Donald Trump has. I don't know what his grand strategy is.
Sure.
I do know that
the devil just doesn't understand the concept, right, of payback. He doesn't understand the concept of karma. You think you could just go do anything and nothing's coming back at you. That's how stupid you are. You just go start shit and then get your ass whooped. This is the last time.
Oil is down to $80 a barrel. That is remarkably good. I do know that he is very concerned about an economic collapse, especially in Europe, and that is a real concern. I have to tell you, I just want you to think, what would your life be like if you paid $10 a gallon for gasoline today? How would you make it? How would
It would be fantastic because we're getting out of here. So let's jump over here real quick and see what they're talking about. Glenn Beck is a piece of shit.
The closest thing to fresh
I
air.
just want to check in the Liberty Vault to see what the hell is doing. Is this finance?
They spin this thing. War wasn't always the American way.
I don't blame people for being skeptical of any
Esau.
FBI narrative.
We have a mass noticing going on. This presidential administration hasn't enacted the agenda it campaigned on.
Wars can be started by lies.
Peace can be started by truth. No more war, no more debt, no more inflation,
and no more empire.
Okay, so what's going on right now? Right? The main thing going on right now is the Israeli lobby is falling apart, and they're the ones that have been controlling America, controlling the president, and having him do the bidding of Bibi Netanyahu. So right now they're saying that whole thing is falling apart, and that whole thing is what's driving the direction of the world. Small hats in that Israeli lobby and that whole thing, right? The Greater Israel and all of that. All right. So if that's falling apart, things are falling apart from the top down. Is the point that I'm trying to make. See if they're going to speak on that.
What is going on, World of Liberty Vault? Great to be back with you. Thanks for being here tonight. We're broadcasting live from Nashville as usual. We have a memorandum of understanding, the foundations for a peace agreement with Iran. Or do we? It seems to be on shaky ground in some respects, and things have already made us question whether this peace could last. Israel's been brazen. Netanyahu has come out and said we will not withdraw from Lebanon, but just before this show aired, there is confirmation from the Israeli ambassador to the United States that they will have a ceasefire in Lebanon.
Wiggle room, ambiguousness, straight devilishness, deception, double talk, backhandedness.
But can it stand? If it's up to Trump, who knows? Nothing much tells us that he hasn't been willing to give in to the Israel lobby. But this peace has turned the entire neocons that stood with him over this war against him. We'll talk about those dynamics, what it means for the future of American politics in general, and this conflict. Can Trump face the truest test of his president so far, defend this thing, sell it to the public, find success in that, and tear asunder the shaky aspects on the right that are opposing it on one side and defying it on the other? So we'll break those things down. We have Scott Horton as our guest here. Scott is the host of the Scott Horton Show. He's one of the most brilliant and compelling anti-war advocates in the United States. Great to have him on the libertarian side there. He's been on Rogan. He's been on Lex Friedman. Thank you.
Scott can't wait to go to Civil War. Look at him. Scott is a patriot.
It's a total honor to have you here, man.
Thanks very much. Happy to be here with you, Dave.
Right on, Scott. So what I wanted to start off with,
Scott, do you hate niggers?
Before we get into Lebanon, before we get into the domestic dynamics in American politics today, I want to ask you about your response to this MOU. When the text came out and some of the details started trickling out, were you surprised about any?
If the first thing that he says doesn't destroy the thought that you can introduce something called a MOU after everything that has been introduced before.
Aspect of it, like how favorable it was to Iran. Are you surprised that of some of the rhetoric that Trump and Vance are using to sell it? Or did you expect, like I did, at least I was slightly more convinced that there would be some escalation before we had an MOU? What are your general thoughts about it so far?
Yeah, well, put off that last point for a minute as far as, Israeli intervention and all that. And they did, I guess, they had right around a week ago, they had a short escalation there that may have been what forced Trump's hand. That he really realized that Iran's ability to hit American bases in the region had not really been diminished in any way.
Getting their ass kicked.
Not sure whether that directly played into his thinking or not, but I wouldn't say necessarily I was surprised, but I guess the harsh truth of it, right, is that the MOU essentially is unconditional surrender by Trump. One condition, which is reopen the strait, but even then, it says it'll be toll free and with no restrictions for 60 days. And after that, it'll be under Iranian control in a joint condominium with Oman.
So
but it
you
will not be
lost.
treated as
Got your ass.
an international waterway. But
See,
as
all
they're
you're not saying we got our ass kicked, and the MOU says it. They're not going to say they lost the war. You lost. Look at the look on both their faces. You lost the war, but you can't bring yourself to say that.
waterway under their control, and Trump has recognized that. So I was joking, I don't know if with you, but I said this a few times over the last few months, that the good thing about Trump is he can go from demanding unconditional surrender to surrendering unconditionally, and he don't really give a damn. He can. This is the.
He just said they lost the war. Surrendering unconditional. See? They're laughing at themselves, right? They're laughing at Edomites. But then gonna point away and say, "Oh, well, it wasn't Trump's fault. It was the left," which the left means black. It was the left that lost the war because they hate Trump so much.
Thing to really be grateful about him is that he can just flip flop and cut and run and act like that was the plan all along.
Man, like any white man out there.
Call it a victory no matter what. As we've seen for the last couple of days, he's out there going, of course they can have missiles. Who cares if they have missiles? Everybody has missiles. And like what? You expect them to not enrich uranium? Obviously, they have to have your uranium enrichment. Otherwise, how are they going to run their civilian nuclear program? And like, Jesus Christ. It's really something to see.
Second Ezra's 9:3. There will be earthquakes and national revenge, international intrigues, unstable leaders and confused. They're sitting there laughing at him. When you see these things happen, you will know that they are a God Most High, spoken about since the beginning of creation. They're laughing straight at this unstable, confused.
But of course, all those things are right? I mean, all those things are actually the reasonable position.
You saw nose. We're doomed. We're doomed. We're losing at war, and the niggers are rising up. We only got an hour left.
His war demands were unreasonable, and he failed to achieve any of them. And so,
to achieve anything.
On one hand, I think the military just told him, "Look, we're out of interceptors, dude.
Lost. We got our ass kicked.
We're not willing to spend any more on this theater of action now. So you're going to have to figure out something else.
We lost.
Right?
Run.
Got but then politically, it's up to him to figure out how to back out of the thing. And
back out.
So this is what he's decided to do, and just
beat.
More or less to run down the list. It's security guarantees, promising not to attack.
He will not say that we lost that war. He'll say everything but that.
Promising not to intervene in their internal affairs anymore. Giving a rebate, essentially $24 billion worth of seized assets that'll be returned to them, under saying.
America is acting like they're dictating terms. You got your ass kicked. Now let's go over here and tell them what we want. No, you're being told what you're not going to get because you have the audacity to go over with a list of things after losing a damn war. It doesn't work like that. You're acting like you didn't lose.
The sanctions relief. The promise of a $300 billion reconstruction reparations fund or reconstruction of what was destroyed in the war.
That's their money.
And they're a little bit vague about this, pulling back from the area around Iran or whatever. It didn't sound like they're saying, we got to vacate the other side of the Gulf, which was one of their original demands. We have to leave the region.
Here's what happened. After America got their ass kicked in the war, instead of Iran writing up a list of things that they're going to make America do, America wrote up a list of things that they're going to do, right? So that Iran doesn't continue to whoop their ass. That's what you're listening to.
Apparently, they're not saying that now, but But yeah, oh, and then it'll get a UN Security Council rubber stamp at the end to make it official international law. And I'm leaving out a couple of things, but I mean, this is a major surrender by Trump and all the neocons.
When someone surrenders, what does it mean? You lost the war. See how they're going, oh, we could call it a surrender, we could call it da, 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 but we are not going to say we lost that war.
Out about it, you can tell that's what's happening there is they're caught still in their own stupid lie that somehow this was working and we won the war.
Oh,
so how can Trump be surrendering?
Did we lose the war? He won't say that.
How can he be giving away the whole store just to get the dang strait reopened when doesn't Trump know that he obliterated their Navy and smashed their Air Force and decimated their missiles and all those things like he claimed and they've been repeating this whole time? Well, breaking news to them. They're wrong. Those were all lies. Well, I mean, whatever. We sank their Navy and smashed their Air Force, but their defense was not centered around either of those things
Right.
anyway. That's not what matters. And no, we did not decimate their missiles. And so that's why it's not the new supreme leader signing his unconditional surrender on the deck of the USS, whatever it is. It's exactly the other way around. Not that Iran is, threatening our East Coast or anything like that, or ever could dream of such a thing. But simply, they absolutely withstood everything that America had to dish out at them,
won.
and were able to threaten America's military and economic,
They won.
assets in the region in such a way, and really the entire global economy in such a way that Trump had no choice but to give in.
He lost.
About 3 weeks ago, they were saying that all we got to do is we got to keep this blockade on their blockade, the double blockade, for another few weeks. And at that point, then Iran will be so inundated with oil that they can't ship out, that it's going to break all their equipment. They're going to be completely screwed because they're going to be at total overcapacity. They're just
Confused and unstable.
to spill the stuff all over the ground. What the hell? And it's just going to break all their infrastructure and whatever. Well, now here we are 3 weeks later, and it turns out that America's strategic reserve was so low that it was actually about to break our infrastructure because, Larry Johnson, the former CIA officer, has a great piece about this at Sonar 21, where he talks about how once the oil pressure gets below a certain amount, all of our pipes and equipment start breaking apart and things. So, somebody came to Trump and read him the Riot Act and essentially told him, listen, you have to stop. We can't get any lower here on our supplies. And so, on the exact opposite, but the like basis of their threat of how they were trying to coerce Iran, they coerced themselves and just, completely screwed themselves. And so, and then now, as far as whether it can last and whether anyone can do anything about it, I mean, look, as we're live tonight here, Friday night, they were supposed to have met today in Switzerland to do
that got canceled. Yeah.
and the Israelis already ruined it with their damn stupid bombing campaign in Lebanon yesterday.
And there it is. Okay. So the least of the flock will go out on that. Is going to force nukes. Jeremiah 49:20. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate. But then we all know what that means. It means that Netanyahu's gonna, destroy the ceasefire.
And I'm sorry because I didn't read this, but I'm going off of I think what Larry Johnson told me on the show today was that the Iranians held back, but threatened that they could do a massive retaliation in response to what Israel is doing. And then apparently Trump really forced Israel to agree to a new ceasefire with Hezbollah. So,
There we are. All right, no peace, no safety, only sudden destruction. So the next sudden destruction, what they're working on, they need to go back to their prospective corners, rearm themselves, and then try it again in another 3 to 6 months, probably after the midterms. So we're looking at December when it gets cold. Speculate. With that, we pray that the elect ratified your brothers and sisters. Shalom.